Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are in the world tuning in. This isn't a voice from the ever change. That series is now finished. And like the title implies, everything does change. And so that series has come, it was born, it stayed for about 40 episodes and then returned back into that river of ever change. I hope you all enjoyed it if you tuned in. And now I'm on to my next project. This is a series on what's known as the Brahma Viharas in both Buddhism and Hinduism, the Brahma Viharas. And those are the emotional components of loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity. And I will probably spend about a month on each of those. I know that sounds like a lot, but each quality, loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity, each quality has a series of practices unfold to bring the practitioner to the experience of loving kindness in many different ways. It's almost like we hold up a prism and the light of wisdom is shining through that prism, and we're holding it up in this direction, and it shines this beautiful light of loving kindness, and we can kind of shift that prism around in different ways, and the loving kindness light will change as the prism refracts the light in different ways. The practices act like that prism. It allows us to see loving kindness in many, many different ways and many, many different lights. Some of those practices will resonate with some people and some won't. And there's no wrong or right about that. It's just some of these practices speak to certain people in a certain way, and some of the other practices don't really. And we'll talk more about that as the series unfolds. So today is really just an introduction into the Brahma Viharas, and in particular, loving kindness. So Brahma Vihara is a Pali word or a Sanskrit word or term, and it literally means the dwelling of the gods, or the dwelling of Brahma. Brahma was the Hindu god of creation. And so, according to Buddhist thought, Buddhist philosophy, these four emotional components are where the gods hang out. These are the home of the gods. Loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity. Those are the home to the gods, if you will. Now, part of the reason why I'm launching this program, the Brahma Viharas, is I'm really passionate about bringing these practices to the contemporary 21st century spiritualist, seeker, meditator, yogi, in a secular way, in a way that's not got any religious connotation to it. Much in the same way that mindfulness practice also originated out of a Buddhist meditation practice, but now is being ushered into the West, both Europe and America, free from the religious connotations. It's mindfulness, as a lot of us already are probably aware, is being used in hospitals, in dentist offices as a pain management technique. It's also being used as a stress relief technique. Many medical facilities are using the techniques of mindfulness as a way to bring about a relief of suffering to the patients. In addition to that, it's being used in mindfulness-based stress reduction. It's also being used as a trauma relief type of programming. So many benefits of the Buddhist practice of mindfulness freed from its religious connotations. And I'm hoping to do a similar thing with loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity. I want to free those four Brahma Viharas from the religious connotation and bring them to the 21st century practitioner, regardless of what religion they practice, regardless of their faith, regardless of their own personal philosophy. None of that really matters. What really matters for these practices and for this series is the cultivation of loving kindness for ourselves and for others, the cultivation of compassion for ourselves and for others, the cultivation of sympathetic joy for ourselves and for others, and the cultivation of equanimity for ourselves and for others. So that's what really matters here. The myths, the religion, all of that, we can let that go for now. And we just bring in the practices as a way of cultivating a way of life which has less suffering for ourselves and for others. So, as I was saying, Brahma Vihara's loving kindness. And so I'm just going to read here the Buddha's words. And I know I mentioned I'm not going to go into religion too much, and I'm reading this in a very secular way. I hope we can talk about that after I read this. But these are the Buddha's words, just as he's giving a teaching on loving kindness. This is known as the Metta Sutta. Metta is another Pali word or Sanskrit word. Metta means loving kindness. So here is the Buddha expounding on how to practice loving kindness. This is what should be done by those who are skilled in goodness and who know the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened with duties and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm, wise and skillful, not proud and demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove, wishing, in gladness and in safety, may all beings be at ease. Whatever living beings there may be, whether they be weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, the medium, the short or the small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be at ease. Let none deceive another or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another, even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child. So with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading through the skies and downward to the depths, outward and unbounded, freed from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, free from drowsiness. One should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding. Well, he says a lot there in just a couple of pages, right? So I just want to point out here how thorough the Buddha was here. He says, in gladness and in safety may all beings be at ease, whether living beings there may be, whether weak or strong, the great, the mighty, the medium, the short, the small, the seen and the unseen. living near and far away, those born and to be born. May all beings be at ease. And I think we can all get on board with that, right? I mean, let's just picture a world where we could open to each other just as we all are. Or we could experience the world opening to us just as we are. What would the world look like? And so the practices of loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity are designed specifically for us to bring about that kind of worldview, to bring about a kind of worldview where we do see, experience, welcome, and open to everyone just as they are. And so I hope you all will join me and continue to join me throughout this series where I'll be guiding meditations on loving kindness for a week or two, and then we'll go into the practices on compassion for a week or two, joy and equanimity, and so forth. Now, peppered in there, I'll be reading from different texts, different philosophies, different ways of life, different religions, different backgrounds, but all on the topics of loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity. In that view of the world, which I just gave forth from that reading, there's no room for fundamentalism. There's no room for my way is the right way and your way is not. And when we think about all of the fighting around the world, well, most of it comes from the idea that my way is the right way and yours is not. And so, moving forward into the Brahma Viharas, in some schools it's known as the four immeasurable minds, or the four immeasurables. So moving forward with the four immeasurables, with the idea that we can cultivate a worldview of acceptance, of loving kindness, of compassion and joy and equanimity. Okay, so now I'll talk just a little bit about the practice of loving kindness, and then we'll just do a brief meditation through the practice. I won't do a full meditation today. I'll start the full practices tomorrow. So how loving kindness practice is done, at least the first few stages, first few practices I'll offer, we offer up what's known as metta phrases. Again, metta means loving kindness. And we bring each phrase, they're kind of written as aphorisms, but they're a little more weighty than that. I'll get into that in a moment. But we bring the loving kindness phrase into our own heart. And we always start with ourselves, cultivating loving kindness for ourselves, and then we can offer it to others. So we offer each phrase to our own heart. And after each phrase, we spend a minute, maybe 90 seconds, visualizing or imagining what our life would look and feel like if each phrase was completely reflective of our life circumstance. So, for example, the first phrase is, "May I be happy." So we offer that phrase to our own heart as if we were offering our heart the most precious, rare gift. And you can even visualize that you're doing something really wonderful for yourself, like you're taking yourself out for a nice meal, only much, much better. You offer this phrase, may I be happy. And then following that phrase, visualizing or feeling or imagining what your life would look and feel like if you were 100% happy all of the time. Now, the suspension of disbelief here might be required. And I often, when I work with people with these practices, I often recommend that they imagine their life unfolding as if they were watching a Disney movie. And now when we go to see a Disney movie, we really have no problem with the suspension of disbelief, right? So similar thing, we're watching our life now unfold with 100% happiness. What would that look and feel like? And we just kind of rest in that for a minute, 90 seconds, maybe 2 minutes. Now, when we offer a phrase like that to our heart and we meditate on it in that way, visualizing and so forth, we might experience an opening in the heart. This warmth, overflowing quality might arise. Some people see colors like a yellow or a green or a bright orange with that phrase or with the phrases. That means we're opening to loving kindness. Good. Just rest with that. It could be that we have some resistance come up. Maybe thoughts of, oh, that'll never happen for me, or I don't even know what happiness looks like, or so all kinds of doubts might arise, or we might just get spaced out and sleepy. That's a resistance. And just note that. We don't try to change it. It's okay, I'm shutting down to that type of loving kindness. And we just note what that feels like, what's happening there. Now, you might not feel anything. You might offer the phrase, may I be happy? And you just kind of sit there. That's okay too. Sometimes it takes a week or two for a consistent loving kindness practice to start to bear fruit. But just to know that the seeds are being planted into the heart. The seeds of loving kindness are being planted. And those seeds can start to bear fruit in some unexpected ways, and sometimes, and very often actually, when we're not meditating, but we're interacting with other people in our life, and all of a sudden we recognize, oh, we're being more open to this person, or we're being more open to ourselves. So there's really not a wrong way to practice loving kindness, except not practicing it at all. If you come to the meditation, you get into the present moment, settle into the present moment, then you offer the phrases to your own heart. You're already doing it right. You might have an attraction to the phrase, an opening, beautiful. Might have a closing down, also beautiful. Might have very little or no response to the phrase, also beautiful. So you're doing it right if you're doing the practice. So after the phrases, and today we'll just go one time through the phrases very quickly. I have a fly here who's getting in on my loving kindness. We'll go through the phrases one time today, just one time, just to get a feel for them. And tomorrow, as I said, when we come back, I'll do a full, complete practice. So here is your free sample of loving kindness. So again, we'll just spend a few minutes getting into the present moment, settling in. I'll go one time through the phrases, and then we'll come back and finish. So allowing the body, mind, and heart to rest, just coming into this present moment. You might notice the breath entering and leaving the nose. Noticing the breath as it touches the back of the throat. Perhaps noticing the rib cage expanding and contracting with each breath, the rising and falling of the abdomen as you inhale and exhale. You might also notice the back moving out as you breathe in as you breathe out. Noticing the shoulders rising and falling with each breath. You might also notice sensations of clothing against the shoulders, the arms resting against the body, the hands against the body or touching each other. You might notice the sensations of clothing against the back, the weight of the body against the cushion or chair, mat or floor. Sensations of clothing against the legs, and the feet against the mat or the floor. There might also be sensations arising from the back of the neck. Noticing any sensations arising in the ears, the cheeks of the face, sensations arising from the forehead. Noticing any sensations arising from the top of the head, the very crown of the head. And while resting with the breath and body, also notice any sounds which might be available during this present moment experience. You don't need to focus on any one sound in particular, but noticing the entire field of sounds. Hearing all of the sounds all at the same time. And just allow yourself to rest with the experience of breath and body, sense of hearing, just coming into this present moment experience. And we'll begin offering these very precious phrases of loving kindness to our own heart, as if we were offering our heart the most precious, rare gift. And we'll just go through each phrase briefly, so you might get a feel, a sense for the loving kindness practices which will come in the next week or so. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I live a life of peace without struggle. May I open to things just as they are. May I experience the world opening to me just as I am. May I welcome whatever arises. Okay, so those are the metta phrases or the loving kindness phrases. And so in a full meditation practice, which I will offer next time we meet, which is tomorrow, the same time, I'll bring us into the present moment, just pretty similar to the way we did. But then I'll offer each phrase and we'll sit with each phrase for maybe a minute or 90 seconds. And again, really visualizing or imagining what our life would look and feel like if each phrase was completely reflective of our life circumstances. That's the idea there. And then after we do that for maybe 12 to 15 minutes, we'll come back to the present moment, like that. And so I'll probably alternate sessions. I'll do like a talk like this one, then a meditation session, then the next day another talk, then a meditation session, and so forth, like that. So if any questions come up, I'll have a chance to answer questions now more frequently, every other day or so, as the series unfolds. So do send those questions over as they come to you, and I'm happy to answer those questions on every other episode. Also, if anyone here would like a copy of the phrases, the loving kindness phrases, and you don't want to bother with rewinding the video and whatever, pausing and writing it down, just email me and I'll send you a copy of the phrases so you can have them. Always happy to do that. Also, are videos of myself guiding loving kindness for ourselves, which is where we start. Like I said, we always start giving loving kindness to our own heart. And so there are videos on my website guiding loving kindness for the self. If you'd like a link to those, again, email me your email address or your contact information. I'll send you a link to a guided meditation. All of that's for free. I don't charge for any of that. So do take advantage of that if you wish. So I think that's all I want to say today. Loving kindness, one of my favorite practices. Really I can't say enough about how much benefit I've reaped from the practices of the Brahma Viharas. I've been practicing these consistently since 2004. My life has changed dramatically as a result of these practices. And so I love them, and I hope that they reach you in a similar fashion in your heart. Thank you for joining me. Stay safe, stay clean, stay healthy, practice your social distancing, wash, sanitize, and let's get through this together. Much love, much light, much metta. Thank you.